Hello, everyone. I'm astrologer Donna Ellis. Aspects are important conversations. They exist in our natal chart among planets and points. They're happening right now among planets in the transiting sky. And those transiting conversations speak to us by aspects to our natal charts. Astrologers like to think that we can anticipate those conversations and where they're going to happen in a natal chart, and we want to try to give them content. We want to influence the conversation to our best advantage through our actions and by giving the planets a topic. So we think of aspects as being easy if it's a trine or a sextile, and we think of the difficult aspects as being squares, oppositions, and conjunctions. And of course, they can be, but it depends on who's involved in the conversation. And again, we want to give them content. So a trine, like a fish in water, things almost flow unnoticed. We want to influence that because we don't want things to flow by in a way that lets something go. We don't want something to get away from us like a slippery fish. A sextile is more like a facilitator. Something may fill in a gap, or we might be able to use it with a complementary competence that allows that house to be fortified by that conversation and by that transit. Conjunction, of course, there can be more than two in any of these places, but if you have a tightly focused conversation with several people involved in one location, it may be dramatic, it may be dynamic, but there is going to be a very noticeable experience there. It's unavoidable, but again, we want to focus it in the right direction. When things are opposite, it can be across the table, like a diplomatic situation or like conversation among lovers, or it can be a seesaw where it can be fun and go up and down and you can have two sides to things, or it can be like a bully and a scapegoat. And when we have a square, the square, you can imagine, it's a box. And if you keep having conversation within one of those four corners, you're going to keep getting the same result. What we want to do with the astrologies, we want to figure out how to take that conversation outside of the box so that there is a fresh scenario, and so that maybe the planets involved are kind of jarred out of their typical urge, and that we can get them to move in a different way, or even leverage each other in some way that's interesting and that will help things over the long term. That's the maturity of a chart. So the point is that the aspects in our chart, or the aspects by transit, the parties are somehow influenced, and that story evolves and it develops. And each planet in the aspect will go its own way, altered by the experience of the conversation. So when we're aware that the conversation is about to happen, what we want to do with astrology is to look at the topics on the table and to offer the best possible topic by your action with your chart to attempt to make the most of those energies. I'm Donna Ellis. Thank you for listening. I hope it was helpful. Until we meet again, I'm wishing you all good things.